The following program is for informational and educational purposes only. It is not to be considered legal advice. Fraudsters Radio was created to expose the many scams and frauds that have so infected society today. Scammers, fraudsters, and rip-off artists abound, whether it's scamming homeowners with bogus foreclosure relief services, dating fraud, incompetent lawyers, or consumer rip-offs. It's high time the public has a voice. If you work in a profession that deals with fraud, or if you believe you were or are a victim of fraud, you now have a radio listening public that wants to hear from you. Please feel free to message us through our Fraudsters Radio Facebook page, and we may have you on the show as a guest. If you'd like to call in for today's show, the number is 646-668-8512.
And welcome to Fraudsters Radio. I'm Lori Z, radio host and consumer advocate, along with my co-host, Storm Bradford, owner of Mortgage Fraud Examiners. We always look forward to doing a great show, Storm. We've done some interesting shows. And in about 15 minutes, we're going to have Tammy Sorrento on our show. We'll talk a little bit about that in the segment. So did you have a good weekend, or did you get scammed?
No, fortunately, I wasn't scammed. I was going to ask you, you obviously lived through the weekend. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm feeling okay. I got to go for a test next week, so I'm hanging in, just keeping myself as busy as possible, so I'm not focused on anything, other than what I'm trying to accomplish. So I'm doing all right. Thank you for asking. And
well, I tell you what, the test that you're going to have makes my blood run cold just thinking about it.
Yeah, mine too. So I try not to think about it. Until the day before. But I posted that last week. We did that very interesting show on the eating babies, with the Planned Parenthood thing, and holy cow, what horrible stuff is going on. And I know I recently posted an article up that supposedly someone in the government is going to do something, or maybe it's the FTC was going to try and do something about all of the robocalls, because I don't know about you, but it's like I just get so many of them, and I know that there are apps that can tell you if it's probably a robocall or not a robocall. A lot of times I answer it even though I'm pretty sure it's a robocall. It's like become a game. But sometimes I actually answer the phone, and as soon as I say I'm recording the call, they hang up. And then I put them in a little blacklist app, which probably at this point, I'm not kidding you, I must have 400 phone numbers in that application. But as you know, most of those phone numbers are spoofed. They're actually real people's phone numbers. So I'm hoping that people are listening and getting angry. They must be angry. I know a lot of people are upset, about the robocalls. And I'm wondering why the phone companies don't do anything about it. I think it's very frustrating. That's my rant for this morning.
Well, I was going to bring something up that is near and dear to your heart, and that is there was an individual in Florida that just got a summary judgment order, and the court ordered the ringleader of this debt relief scam to pay $23 million.
Oh, my gosh. Now, who is it? Is it someone I know?
A gentleman by the name of Kevin W. Guise, Guice, or Guise. I don't know how you pronounce it.
I don't know him. So what happened with him? Is he an attorney?
No. A federal judge has permanently banned this guy from telemarketing and debt relief industries. And the Federal Trade Commission got involved in the state of Florida that he basically started and operated these massive debt relief scams that took in over $23 million from more than 10,000 customers until he was stopped June the 16th. And what he was doing was he was just what we're just talking about. He bombarded these consumers with these illegal robocalls and tricked them into paying thousands of dollars for this worthless credit and debt reduction services. That was the FTC found that. And they worked with the AG's office down there in Florida, and they were finally, were able to nail this guy. And basically this guy, operation, it consisted of telemarketing companies and 11 shell companies.
Wow. Which
worked as a common enterprise to sell two types of fraudulent debt release services. And they were operating out of a boiler room in Orlando. And so they found that this guy's telemarketers inundated consumers with millions of robocalls, including calls to telephone numbers on the FTC's National Do Not Call Registry.
Yeah.
And maybe you recognize them. They used aliases such as bank card services, credit assistance program. The telemarketers falsely claimed that they were licensed enrollment center for a major credit card network like MasterCard and Visa, and promised these people that they would substantially and permanently lower their interest rate. And this guy was charging $500 to $5,000 for this services. And of course, nobody ever obtained permanent or any interest rate deductions that were promised. And he also pitched a bogus credit card debt elimination service, charging between $2,500 and $26,000 up front, claiming that they could access funds from the government from a lawsuit against the credit card industry to pay off the consumer's credit card debt. Obviously there were no funds, and nobody who purchased this debt elimination service, they all wound up deeper in debt with damaged credit scores and higher interest rates and late fees. So this guy slammed on everybody.
Storm, I always wondered, do the people that work for them that are in the call center, do they all know it's a scam, or do they think they're actually legitimately working for a company that does this?
I think maybe a few do, but probably most don't.
Yeah, if you remember a couple of weeks ago, I got a call regarding it was a bizarre phone call. It's from a call center, I could tell, with the woman who didn't speak a lot of English. I mentioned this on a previous show, who said to me, he said my name, and said, hey, you've won the sweepstakes. Sweepstakes is always a danger word, a red flag word for you. You've won the sweepstakes to pay off all of your student loans. I just need to get some information. And I said, ma'am, I am recording your call, and you have violated the TCPA. You're a scammer. Don't call me again. And she hung up, and, of course, I just blasted that all over social media. But it's
be careful that you're recording people. Does Florida have a two-party rule?
Yes, I announced it. Yes, Florida has a two-party rule, so whenever I'm recording a call down here, I announce that I am recording that call. Okay. But when people don't speak very good English, I don't know that they actually understand that the call is being recorded. I don't know, but I always do, yes, because we're a two-party state on that. Now, most places, if I pick up a call and it's a person and they start trying to sell me something, I'll just automatically say, I am recording this call, and then they normally hang up, and then I put them in my little list. So, I think about over the past year, how many times does it take to do, 400 or 500 names in the little list? That had to be several hours of my time, which I consider precious, dedicated to moving these people into an app, which, again, it's a spoof number. It's probably someone's real number, which is totally useless. So, like I said, most of the time now, I only pick up calls when it's somebody that's programmed in my phone. Otherwise, I let them leave a message, just because it seems to me that the majority of calls I'm getting are these robocalls or these bogus, this is your credit card company calling. This is Microsoft calling.
Just like that guy, they found that he inundated millions, plural, in robocalls. Yeah. Just one guy.
Yeah, and why doesn't anybody do anything about it? Why doesn't anybody do anything? Don't tell me that everybody else in every other state isn't dealing with the same thing. What does the Federal Trade Commission do about it? Nothing. In reality, nothing. I think they have to have a certain amount of complaints. Most people don't bother making the complaints either to the FTC. I know they tally up the numbers, But this has been going on now for a very long time, and yet I don't see any changes. And, the article that I read, well, the phone companies should be a lot more involved. I don't want to receive phone calls from phone numbers that are not associated with a legitimate person or company. And I'm sure there's a way that these illegal companies that are doing the spoofing, they're using equipment. I don't know if that equipment is legal, but there's something wrong there. There's something wrong if the phone companies are allowing those calls to come through. So, that kind of leaves it at that. It's a frustration factor.
Oh, yeah. Also, too, wanted to bring up another one of these crooked lawyers down there in Florida. He was disbarred already. His name is Constantine Kalagianis. And
okay, I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway, he was caught on video. This is why he went to the slammer, altering mortgage records. And what he was doing was, this guy ran for Congress in 2002. But he was one of the most active alleged foreclosure defense attorneys out of Tampa after the 2008 crash. But what they did was, the Pinellas Pasco State Attorney's Office, they launched an investigation 3 or 4 years ago after a lender accused him of altering foreclosure records to benefit homeowners he had represented.
And the game goes on. The game goes on.
Yeah. He went into the clerk's office, 2015, so I guess 4 years ago now, and it showed him stamping something on papers in 2 different cases.
Oh, my God. Don't people realize you can't be out in public without somebody getting video of you? You have to be stupid at this point if you're out in public.
What he did was, he was defrauding these lenders, and he would create these forgeries on the paperwork, and then he persuaded the judge that Bank of America and these other lenders didn't have standing for summary judgment.
Okay.
Yeah, and he, collected like $100,000 just on that.
Yeah, but maybe in a sad way, what he did was wrong. But maybe he was thinking of it from a moral sense, in that the banks were screwing over people, and he was trying to help them. But in taking money for it, that's the part,
Well, what is he, Robin Hood? I mean, you're committing fraud. So I don't know. He just got nailed. He just got arrested because he was in a courtroom, in a Pasco courtroom, and he got charged with equity skimming. And it's mortgage fraud is what it is. What he did was he bought a couple of properties that were in default or soon to be defaulted on their mortgages. And then what he did is he collected rents, but kept the money for his own use instead of paying the lenders. That's a crime.
Yep.
So they're going to nail him. But I mean, another congressional candidate. Wow.
Yeah.
The great people we have in Congress.
I know. It's like we become desensitized to listening to such bad news every day that I told you, I can't, very, very rare do I listen to the news. Actually, there's only one reporter I listen to. I won't tell you who he is. He just left. He was local. But very few reporters do I trust them to do fair and accurate reporting. It's not like it was years ago. Now it's about the hoopla and who can get more viewers, and how many of the women will have blonde hair because everybody likes blonde hair. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff behind the scenes, and I go, it's just a farce at this point. But what I do want to do is take a commercial break, Storm, and we're going to have, when we come back, the owner of Fireball Approves, which is a private investigation firm. We're going to have Tammy Sorrento, who's the owner, on. And we're going to cover vehicle scams, and if we have enough time, we may talk about contractor scams as well. So let's do a quick break, and we will be right back.
Have you received a notice of foreclosure on your property? Do you suspect that you're involved in an unfair or fraudulent loan agreement? Are you looking for a way to save your home? Would you like to cut through all the misinformation and find out what really works? Would you like to learn strategies that the so-called gurus aren't aware of? If you answered yes to any of those questions, a professional team at Mortgage Fraud Examiners can assist you and your attorney with all of these things and more. Contract breaches, errors, statutory regulatory violations, fraudulent appraisals, and other fraudulent conduct cause most mortgages to be legally problematic. In fact, the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation found that nearly 2,000 financial institutions they assessed received citations for significant compliance violations. They also examined appraisals and found out that of the 259 appraisals reviewed for accuracy, only 7 fully complied with professional standards. Call us at 844-920-7200. That's 844-920-7200. Mortgage Fraud Examiners, 844-920-7200.
Okay, we're back on AM/FM 24/7 radio. The call-in number is area code 646-668-8512. And we have Tammy Sorrento today, who has a company called Fireball Approves, and she's going to talk to us about what, Tammy?
About vehicle scams.
All right. Well, I'm sure you're going to...
I could tell Tammy by her name is a good Irishman.
Don't you know it? I am the Fireball.
You may be the redhead and all, huh?
That's right. You betcha.
You know, that's funny, Tammy, because I saw the name Fireball Approves, and I'm going, it must be her. So I guess Storm and I run the same thoughts.
Yeah.
I love it. So vehicle scams are... Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, Tammy, tell us how not to get scammed dealing with our cars.
Well, I tell you what, everyone, if they are buying a vehicle from someone they don't know, they really need to do their due diligence, and that's tough. You were mentioning at the beginning of the call that women going to go buy or have their vehicle serviced. We are like a huge target for scams, no matter what type of transaction that we have with our vehicles. And that's why we need to know before we go. Vehicle scams are near and dear to my heart because you don't find out that it's a scam until you actually go register the vehicle. And whoever scammed you is long gone. You're never going to find them again. And now you have a vehicle that's worth nothing, which to me I just won't tolerate. So, vehicle scams, if you're buying a vehicle and you're buying it from someone that you don't know, here's a tip. Let's say you're using a platform, and I'm just going to say it because it is prevalent, and a lot of people, it could even be on Facebook. You would be surprised at the transactions that happen between strangers on Facebook, on Craigslist, on any platform that you can think of. Here's one thing I want you to do, and it's not a fail-safe, but it's sometimes you can hit and find out that you're looking at a fraudulent listing. And this is by reverse image search. So you have the ad up, you have the picture of the vehicle, do a reverse search on that and see if it's listed on like cars.com for a increased amount than what you're looking at. The proverb of if it's too good to be true, it probably is. Definitely take that to heart. As far as, okay, let's say a consumer finds a vehicle, they did their due diligence, now they're going to go buy that vehicle. You have to do a search on whether or not that vehicle was stolen. And how would anyone do that?
I don't know. Can you tell us?
I can, because I do that.
Okay, good. Good.
Yes, my services are nationwide, so it doesn't matter where the seller or the potential buyer is. Being a private investigator, I have the DMV access. I have the vehicle record searches, so I can make sure that the vehicle that you're interested in, if you have the VIN number, then I can let you know if that vehicle was stolen. Now, let me tell you another way that the scammers are getting away with this. And in order to fight the scams, you have to know how the scams are happening. And that's what I do. That's my passion, is I keep people from getting burned. That's why my company name is Fireball Approved, because I'm not going to let you get burned. What scammers do, they steal a vehicle. They will go to a parking lot that has a vehicle the same make, the same year, the same model, the same color, and they will copy down that VIN number. Then they go and make a VIN plate with that VIN number. So just a normal search, like on Carfax, it's going to look like, hey, it's a legit vehicle. But as a savvy consumer, you need to check the VIN number on the glass. If it's been etched in the glass, you need to check inside the vehicle and see if those VIN numbers line up. That is going to be your number one tip today, is the vehicle.
Okay.
In the vehicle identification number in the windshield. People actually make those. It is just astounding the lengths they will go to scam you.
You know, if the honest people spend as much time, instead of scamming doing actual work, they would make more money, you know, but instead they choose to do it the bad, evil way. And I want to tell you something about Craigslist, which might make you guys laugh. Whenever I post anything for sale, no matter what it is on Craigslist, at the bottom, I address at the bottom, it says, for the scammers. No, I will not wire you money. No, I will not do PayPal. You know, cash only. Pick up at my address, which I will give to you once you've called me and we've spoken, or you've given me your number and I call you and we've spoken. But you know what? I don't get a lot of responses, probably because most of the people on are scammers. So when I post on Craigslist and I put this little thing at the bottom, they'll probably go, oh, my God, let's stay away from that lady because there's no way. You know, and so that's good for me. Yeah, when I do get a reply back, and I usually reverse Google the number to see if there are any complaints against it. Like, I try to find out who it is, if it's legitimate, whenever possible, just because I have been scammed. I know a lot of people that have been scammed. And so I think you pointed out some good things. Because, you know, sometimes people do that scam where they send you the cashier's check, like in advance, right?
Yes. That's big in mystery shopping. That's big. Another scam, and I'm sorry I'm getting off the vehicle, but here's a scam that I'm researching right now, virtual jobs. You'll apply, and they're really targeting college students who are just looking for a way to pay their bills while they're in college. So the college student fills out the application. Guess what? They've just now stolen their identity.
Yeah, because they fill in all the personal information. Well, that's because they fill in their personal information.
Yeah,
right. One
exactly.
of the things.
So
go ahead.
I was getting ready to say that they're targeting the vulnerable, and that is what just heats me up.
And I agree. And I'm here in Florida, Storm's in Virginia, but here it's like I have elderly family members, and I basically tell people, if you don't know who's calling and they're not programmed in your phone, don't answer. You know what I mean? If somebody is posting something online and it says click on this attachment and you look at the email it's coming from and it doesn't look right, if you don't know what it is, if you even question it, delete it. Just delete. You know, but with the vehicle scams, what kind of scares me, first off, I think you have a better chance of having something be more legitimate at a dealer, at a legitimate dealer.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm not going to.
Yes.
Yeah. When you go to buy somebody else's used car, they're not necessarily going to tell you what's wrong with that car. Now, I can tell you, like my other half a few years ago, he bought a van. It was inexpensive. The guy had all the documents. Like this was a shocker. It really did turn out to be a good deal because he had all the documents for all the maintenance on the vehicle. I think that's really unusual. I think it's usually the other way around, right? They have no documents.
Right.
They're not going to tell you if it's been through a flood or damage. And now, tell me about Carfax. Carfax, can that also be changed? I've heard that doesn't always work either.
The history of the vehicle, but it's not a history of the owner.
Okay.
So that is a false sense of security. So let's say someone cloned the VIN number like I just described on how the scammers do it. You're not going to pick that up on the Carfax.
Oh, boy. It's almost like buying a house. Yeah.
Yeah, Tammy,
Yes.
Tammy, it would appear to me that the number one tip of the day should be not to purchase a used car from anyone other than a dealership.
That's what it's coming down to.
And that's sad. I tell you,
it
really
sad.
Makes me angry that we can't trust. And
but
when I was a single mom,
no, I was going to say, no, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I was just saying, but if you think logically, if I was going to sell a car, if I had a car and I was going to sell a car, I would go online to see what the car is worth. So if the car's worth that's what I'm going to pay for at a dealer. So why would I go to some potential crook when I can go right to the dealer? And if there's problems with the VIN numbers or problems with anything else, they're responsible. But when you're dealing with some stranger on the street, that to me, right off the bat, is the number one tip. I wouldn't buy a car from anyone off the street.
You know what? Bingo on that. And because of the business I'm in, I always think of things as this is a scam. Now prove me wrong.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we have so many young people and older people, and it's such a shame because it's almost a crime that's even difficult to pursue. If you are scammed, but you're trusting. And here are the stories that you're going to hear. I can't be there to show you the car because I'm in the military, because I'm a missionary. I'll FedEx you the keys. The stories that they come up with are so similar, but they should all be red flags.
Right. Well, let's do this. We want to talk more about the vehicle fraud. We're going to go to a quick commercial break. So, Tammy, Storm, stay with us.
Before we go to the break, Laurie,
yes.
I am going to come back, and I'm going to tell a story that happened to me to Tammy, and I think this is even more prevalent than buying cars. But let's take us to break.
There is a very high likelihood your mortgage contains an extensive error. At Mortgage Fraud Examiners, we know just how costly a missed opportunity can be. For almost 40 years, we have consulted, retained, and referred to by attorneys, lawyers, trial practitioners throughout the nation. Put another way, we are the trusted source for litigation support. A foreclosure is basically an allegation the homeowner breached the contract by failing to make timely payments. The contract is clear. The borrower promised they would make timely payments, and if they didn't, the lender could take the property. The only way to overcome the homeowner's breach is to show the lender breached first, identify errors that would void the contract, identify regulatory violations, identify appraisal fraud and other fraudulent conduct, and the only way to find these wrongs is to thoroughly examine the whole mortgage transaction. This meticulous examination of your mortgage transaction and appraisal can identify legal defects that would make your mortgage unenforceable and entitle you to compensation or even free title to your property. Call us at 844-920-7200. Mortgage Fraud Examiners, that's 844-920-7200. 844-920-7200.
Okay, we're back on. This is the Fraudsters radio show on AM, FM 24/7 radio. The call-in number is area code 646-668-8512. And our special guest today is this good Irishman, Tammy Sorrento from Fireball Approved. Now, I'm going to tell you my story, Tammy, how I got scammed.
Gotcha.
I had a Chrysler convertible, and at 80,000 miles, the engine went kaput. So, Anyway, I had it taken. I was going to have it taken to Chrysler dealership, and I called them first, and I said, "Look, what's going to cost to put a new engine in this car?" And it was like $8,000. Oh my God! What do you mean $8,000? So I went on the internet. And I found somebody local, and they were called, what were they called? Something, I should remember the name, actually, because they're the ones who screwed me. But it was like Motor Works. That was the name of it, Motor Works. Instead of CKS, it was an X. And anyway,
gotcha.
They wanted $4,000 to do it. And I figured, these dealers, they try to stick it to you, so I'll go ahead and have this guy do it. So tows my car in, and tells me, says, your engine shot. We put in remanufactured engines, and that's what we do. It's just it's a whole brand new. It's not a brand new engine because they keep the block, but all the internals are all brand new. And it's going to take a couple of weeks to get here, and in the interim, I'm renting cars to get around. And finally, one day he calls me up and says, "Okay," he says, "it's done." And so anyway, I took the car out and paid him his $4,000, and I started hearing these strange noises. And I brought the car back, and I said, "Look, this kind of making some noise here." I said, it doesn't make sense. And so anyway, he says, sometimes we get a bad remanufactured engine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to order you another one. And he says, you're looking at 2 or 3 weeks before it comes in. And so I'm out renting cars again, spending all this money. And then finally, my car is ready. So I drive off, and then a few days later, I hear strange noises again.
Oh no!
I bring the car back, and the owner's there, and he's this Vietnamese gentleman, and so he brings his mechanic out, and he walks into his office, and the mechanic is underneath my car. And I feel him pull on my pants leg.
What?
And so he pulls on my pants leg, and I lean over, and he goes, "We never put a new engine in your car the first time or the second time."
God.
He says, what this guy does is he waits for another car to come in, tells that guy he needs a new engine, pulls parts out of that. Then another one will come in, tell him that he needs a new engine. He'll pull parts out of that engine. He put them in your car. He did it twice.
Oh my God!
So I sued him and won, and I paid $4,000. I got $25,000 back because I sued him. Okay. But anyway,
how long did that take, Storm?
How long did it take to do what?
To get your money from the suit?
Probably about in 6 months.
Oh my heavens! So this was a hassle for that long.
I know how to move things along. I've had a litigation support company for almost 40 years, so I basically know how to play the game. But to me, the biggest scam dealing with vehicles is what I talked about, because when you go in, And that's why I said, I know a lot of women, men, a lot of men, they grew up and their dads would work on cars and stuff together and that kind of stuff. But usually the girls didn't do that, and they know less about cars than the guys. Well, let me tell you something. I'm in the same category with the girls because I absolutely know nothing about cars, and God only knows how many times I've been scammed going in, because in Virginia, you have to get your car inspected yearly. And the ones that are inspecting your cars are garages. And it seems awful funny that almost every year when I bring my car in to get inspected, there was something wrong with it that had to be replaced in order to get your inspection sticker. But I'm thinking that, to me, I would think, because that's so much more prevalent, that's where people are getting screwed. How do you combat that, or can you?
That's a very good question.
You probably can.
Charlie, you're so lucky that guy told you.
Oh, yeah.
What are the chances that someone would tell you that?
Yep. And I found afterwards that he got fired because that guy found out that he told me that. But this guy's been doing this for years. Years.
Right. Is he? I hope and you know what? He can open up a business under a different name.
Yep. So that's the key, is how do we as consumers go in if we're not, literate in cars and how they work and engines and what could go wrong and that kind of stuff. There probably is no protection. You're left to the wolves.
Well, I tell you, I've got a couple of tips on that. When I take my car in, I will start off at the dealer, and I don't necessarily get my car fixed at the dealer, but I get them to diagnose it. Then at least I have that professional, and of course they try to do the same thing. You need this, you need that, but if there's something wrong with my car, I will get them. It's worth it to me to, and especially if I'm going to get the oil change, I will get the oil change at the dealership, just because I know that they're looking over my car and they're trying to sell me on stuff all the time. But at least I have an area to work with. Then I have my arguments when I do go to get the car repaired, if I choose to do it somewhere else. Another tip is make sure that the shop has insurance, has liability insurance. Here's something that I read about, and the customer took her vehicle to the body shop. They fixed it. They took it on a test drive. And this is as horrific as it gets. And I know your situation was bad. And look at how long. And you're in the business. You know your way around lawsuits. What about the common person? That could have really strung out a long time. But they took it out for a test drive.
Plus they have to pay for a lawyer.
Right.
They've already spent money paying money for a lawyer, and none of those lawyers are going to take it on a contingency because there's no money in it. Let's say that it's a $2,000 deal or something like that. Well, if he takes a half, he only gets $1,000. So
exactly, and it's not worth it to them. I know.
Yeah.
So insurance. You got to make sure that they have active insurance. So what happened was the employee of the garage took the vehicle on a test drive, hit a pedestrian, and killed them.
Oh my God.
You know who was sued?
The owner of the car.
The owner of the car, because the body shop did not have insurance.
Right.
Now, here's a very important tip. Just because you see, let's say they do show you their policy, you have to call and make sure it's in force. When someone takes out a insurance policy, they put down a down payment. that is equal to 2 months of coverage. Now, pay the subsequent payments.
Then you're out of luck.
They don't have insurance. Right. They don't have insurance, but they just showed you something that looks like it's legit.
Tammy, will the insurance company? Yeah, will the insurance company actually? If you went to a car dealer and asked for who their insurance company is, and you called them, though, I tried doing this once years ago, and the insurance company said, "Well, we can't reveal that. We can't reveal that information to you since you're not our customer, and they are." Is that true?
Well, I guess it depends on the state. I've been in insurance for 25 years, and that's how I got into the business that I am. I would, if that's the case, if that's what they tell you, then request a certificate of insurance.
Okay.
And that means that you become a named person on the policy. So if something happens with that policy, they have a legal duty to inform you.
Got it.
And you can have a start and end date. So let's say you're getting your engine repaired or replaced, and it's going to be in there for 2 weeks. Well, by God, you need to have a certificate of insurance for that 2 weeks, so that if that policy ends, or it's not paid, or they get canceled for whatever reason, you need to know that.
You know, it's hard to me, you know, nowadays I only think about buying at a dealer, and I'm very fortunate. I have a very good friend that's a finance manager at a dealer, and I trust him. Most people don't have that kind of person. But, you know, the idea for me the idea of purchasing a car or any big item, you know, here's what I think, and you'll all think I'm nuts. I would think, hey, if I'm going to meet a total stranger to make, say, a cash transaction, I would actually make them meet me at my bank and then do like a bank check or cashier's check, because if they won't show up, you already know it's a scam right there. And B, if they do show up, they're going to be on video. And from what I understand, is sometimes they can catch the money. Like if there's a problem, I understand it is possible to cancel out money orders or cashier's checks. And I think that's probably safer because everybody wants you to wire money now. We actually did a show on wire transfers for real estate. You know, they usually go to Nigeria, and once they're out, you're stuck.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. And that's the same with rental properties. Same exact thing. A lot of people want you to wire the money so that they can FedEx you the keys. Oh, my God, run the other way.
Yeah, we had a situation down here in Florida a few months ago where 7 people rented the same house from someone in a deal like that, never saw the house, all showed up on the 7 days, on the same day, 7 families, and the guy who was renting it out, nowhere to be found, wasn't the owner of the house. The people on the house were living in it. So it's scary. But I do want to go to one more commercial break. Tammy, stay with us. We're going to come back. We still have some more to go. Be right back.
Gotcha.
Consumers, do you have bad credit? Can't purchase a house or car? Paying too much in interest on your credit cards and loans? Scammed by credit repair companies? There is hope. You can get back on track and do it the right way. Call Credit Education Consultants today at 813-500-6064. That's 813-500-6064. Or go to crediteducationconsultants.com now and get the help you need. Don't delay. Call today. Mortgage reps and realtor inquiries are also welcomed.
Okay, we're back on Fraudsters Radio live on AM FM 24/7 radio. The call-in number is area code 646-668-8512 with our special guest, Tammy Sorrento from Fireball Approves. Tammy, I wanted to make a comment about, and I think that's probably a real good way to check out to see if the business is legit or not, because if they're not paying their insurance, that's a hell of a red flag.
Clear.
That is a huge red flag.
Oh, yeah. Steer clear because then you're on your own.
Yeah, because here's what I found. I found that I know a lot of people, they think, oh, well, I'll just jump on Yelp and I'll jump on some of these other places and just check these guys out that way. Well, I know this company, Motorworks, who have been doing this for years. As a matter of fact, I found out subsequent to all of it that they had been, the Attorney General had been after him before for doing the same thing. This guy had been doing this for years. But what he was doing was, I guess he was having friends and relatives and everybody else putting in these 5-star ratings in Yelp and these other places, and it basically buried any 1-stars that were there. So,
of course.
Yeah. So, if you're not knowledgeable and you can't bring somebody with you that is knowledgeable, and you basically can't rely on Yelp, that's pretty smart move to want to see their insurance and check their insurance act. Because if they're not paying the insurance, I'd be out of there in 2 seconds anyway. Because if the car fell off the lift, you're responsible, not them. That's pretty slick. It's a pretty slick way to do it.
Tammy,
that's
if you
what
were
I do.
Yeah, I'm just going to ask you, Tammy, if you go to buy a used car not at a dealer, for example, would it be to me it would be a smart idea. I would probably take video of the car, video of the VIN, video of the license plate, and if possible, video of the seller. So I have all the information. I have proof of something, and then I would meet them at the bank to do that transaction. But, a lot of times, like, people think if you see a car, the old, it's too good to be true. If you see a car so cheap, it's either stolen or there's something really wrong with it, and they're telling you that there's not. I mean, some of it to me is just common sense. And, one of the other things I had actually read about was people use alternative payment methods, like the paying with the gift cards or Bitcoin, things like that, where it's harder, to trace anything.
Yeah. Well, it's no different than the wiring. Once it's gone, it's gone. You can't unring that bell.
Well, I think, again, the tip of the day should be don't buy a car, a used car from anyone other than a dealer. I think, that's pretty clear. I may be dumb, but I catch on quick.
Yeah, but Storm, the point of going to a dealer, like Tammy mentioned before, and I can tell you, myself being a woman and all of my female friends, I hate to say it, but men take advantage of women, especially young women, I think, and they don't know anything about buying cars. The average car, I actually have I know a friend that wrote a book about this topic exactly. Like when you bring in a used car to a dealer, you may end up selling it to them for $1,000 on a trade-in, but they're going to triple to quadruple the value of that car. And so maybe they cleaned it up and it cost them $1,000, so their total cost was $2,000, but they're going to make at least double whatever they paid on that car.
Exactly.
And so if you don't know, I don't know, Tammy, are you familiar with the 4 boxes or the 4 squares?
Yes.
Have you ever heard of that?
Well, I think the way that you overcome that is that there are viable places on the internet that you can look up the price of a car. Now, obviously they're in business to make money. So, there's nothing wrong with them making a profit. But, if you look on, the Blue Books and these different places to see the value of the car, then you just say, hey, look, the guy says, look, I want $5,000. Well, excuse me, I was just on Blue Book this morning, and it said it's worth $2,800. But you're not going to lose your money or not buy a stolen car and end up lose your money and have a stolen car in your hand. So you're still better off going to a dealer.
Yeah, I agree, but I would say bring a man who's knowledgeable to protect you, because I still believe the old boys network is in play there. And when I've bought my own cars, or at least I've always brought someone with me, but you can go to sites like TrueCar, I think Edmunds, Consumer Reports does a once-a-year book on that kind of information. So when I was looking in the category of cars, say from $20,000 to $25,000 a few years ago, I knew I would be on the drive and go, okay, I know what that car is, and because I did so many hours, probably weeks of research before I actually bought a car or leased a car. I don't think most people do that, but looking online, it gives you an idea, and the Blue Book value gives you an idea. But again, there are big reputable dealers, and then there are smaller ones that may or may not be reputable, and you don't know who's really writing those Yelp rankings or Google rankings. Not all of them are verified. So, I find it hard to believe, but I do believe people could just go on from their own companies and say, hey, let's put up 100 today that all said, our company is the greatest, and there's no way to verify it, right?
Right. And, I don't have anything to do with this company that I'm going to mention, but I definitely watch new tech companies coming out. And there's one, keep your eye on this. They're called Wrench, W-R-E-N-C-H, and they are body shop repairmen that will go and look at the vehicle and give you their honest opinion, if there's anything wrong with it, too, before you buy it.
But they're charging a fee for services, I'm assuming.
They're charging, of course they are. But it'll be better than buying something that you're going to have to turn around and spend thousands on.
Right, I agree with you on that. I'm just wondering what their liability is. Like if you use them and then you buy the car and there's something major wrong, are they guaranteeing it or not guaranteeing it? So we'll have to keep an eye out for that. But I don't know. I find it. Yeah, I try to think due diligence, but it's almost like they say. Cops have good guns, but the bad guys have better guns. And so, right? It's true, though. It's true because they figure out a way to outsmart the people, and people just, I don't know, they don't think. And I'm not sure, what state are you in, Tammy?
I'm in Florida as well.
Ah, okay. So, yes, so same here. So you know what it's like. It seems like everybody is out to grab everybody's money and not be truthful. That's at least been my experience because I'm from Jersey where I don't remember this much stuff happening. Now one of the things I know that you can do, and I'm sure you probably know more than that, if this happens to you, you can file a complaint not only with the police department but also with the FBI because it's usually a large dollar scam, correct?
Yes. In fact, anyone that I find, because that's what I specialize in, is scam prevention. Anyone that I determine that an ad was a scam, I do report it to the FBI. So
can you kind of give us, we still have about 5 or 6 minutes. Give us some more tips, a summary maybe of, do this, and don't do this.
Right. Like I said, the way that I operate, even in my personal affairs, is I'm cynical, being from insurance and then a private investigator. In my perception, everyone's lying and trying to scam me, and I do my research to prove otherwise. The sad point of that is that's a sad way to not be able to trust anyone. But I tell you, it will keep you safer in the long run. We were talking about the real estate scams. Here's something I want everyone to be aware of. Here's a false sense of security. And this happened in Orlando. And I know that it happens all over the U.S. because I've read about it. So you think that someone's showing you a property that it's legit, right? Because they actually are going to the property and opening up. And you rent it, you have a lease, and you're turning on the utilities. And like I said, this happened right in Orlando. 2 months later, the renters got a knock on the door from the bank saying this house is in foreclosure. This is our house. You have to go. So what happens is another opportunity for scammers is they go around to empty houses, break in, change the locks, and then people not thinking twice because someone is showing them the house. So you really have to do your due diligence. And like I said, that's what I help with. And I made it economical so everyone can use me. I don't want anyone to get scammed. That's my main purpose. For $19, I will check rental ads. I will check car ads. That's what I prevent. And so I am just a tool, but we've been talking about things you can do on your own. But if you get to the point where it's like, okay, I've done everything I can do, you're going to want to call a private investigator, call me, Fireball Approves. Call someone for that second level of research for you.
Yeah, this is going to be a silly, non-related question, but it just came to mind. If somebody's dating somebody else and they want to run a background check on them to see if they're a scammer, because you know how some of these Romeos take money.
A romance scam? Right.
A romance scam. Do you do that kind of stuff also?
I'm looking into that. Yeah, because that's another thing where they're after money. This is a funny story. I worked with someone that was corresponding with someone, and I said, hey, be careful. Next thing you know, because, they were out of the state. And I said, the next thing you know, they're going to call wanting money. Oh, I would never give money. The next thing, when I checked on her, he needed money because he was flying to come meet her, and he put his luggage in the taxi, and the taxi ran off. And she sent money after I warned her, and I thought, you are a victim of a scam, and I tried to help you. There's a lot of areas, and that's why I call myself Fireball Approves, because I'm not just going to be in one area. I want to fight all of the scams. There's so many.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. We're actually going to have you come back pretty soon because we didn't get a chance to go over contractor scams. That's a whole other thing. Storm, do you have any last questions for Tam?
And I've got a lot of tips on that, too.
Yeah, we heard that.
Tammy, why don't you give us your coordinates, where you are on the Internet, your website, your telephone number, and all that, so our listeners can give you a buzz if they need you.
You betcha. I'd be happy to help anyone. And even if someone just had a question, I'm not going to charge them for that because, once again, I just want to help people just like you guys do. So they can find me at fireballapproves.com. I'm on all social media. Follow my page on Facebook. It's Fireball Approves with no space. And I post about all sorts of scams. And I research them. And people send me scams to look into. I'm on Instagram, I'm on Twitter, I'm on LinkedIn under my name and under my business name. Phone number 904-580-6740. Please, if you've been scammed, if you heard of a scam, I want to know because I want to research on how to overcome them.
Okay, well, thank you, Tammy.
Yeah, another great show. Yeah, thank you both for being here. I think it was a great show, very educational. I want to thank our listening audience for joining us today on Fraudsters Radio. You can join us again next Monday from 1 to 2 p.m. Eastern Time live. And remember, we do want to hear your stories. You can contact us through the Fraudsters Radio Facebook page. Great show, guys, and we'll get together again soon.
Enjoy your week.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Have you received a notice of foreclosure on your property? Do you suspect that you're involved in an unfair or fraudulent loan agreement? Are you looking for a way to save your home? Would you like to cut through all the misinformation and find out what really works? Would you like to learn strategies that the so-called gurus aren't aware of? If you answered yes to any of those questions, a professional team at Mortgage Fraud Examiners can assist you and your attorney with all of these things and more. Contract breaches, errors, statutory regulatory violations, fraudulent appraisals, and other fraudulent conduct cause most mortgages to be legally problematic. In fact, the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation found that nearly 2,000 financial institutions they assessed received citations for significant compliance violations. They also examined appraisals and found out that of the 259 appraisals reviewed for accuracy, only 7 fully complied with professional standards. Attorneys who have followed our methodologies have received multi-million-dollar awards and free title to the homeowner's property. There is a very high likelihood your mortgage contains an extensive error. At Mortgage Fraud Examiners, we know just how costly a missed opportunity can be. For almost 40 years, we have consulted, retained, and referred to by attorneys, lawyers, trial practitioners throughout the nation. Put another way, we are the trusted source for litigation support. A foreclosure is basically an allegation the homeowner breached the contract by failing to make timely payments. The contract is clear. The borrower promised they would make timely payments, and if they didn't, the lender could take the property. The only way to overcome the homeowner's breach is to show the lender breached first, identify errors that would void the contract, identify regulatory violations, identify appraisal fraud and other fraudulent contact, and the only way to find these wrongs is to thoroughly examine the whole mortgage transaction. This meticulous examination of your mortgage transaction and appraisal can identify legal defects that would make your mortgage unenforceable and entitle you to compensation or even free title to your property. Call us at 844-920-7200. That's 844-920-7200. 844-920-7200.